Good morning, gladiators. It is Tuesday, October 27th. So let's get started. All right, so today we're going to be talking about New World exploration. This is one of my favorite subjects, of course, close to next to cultural diffusion. But exploration, how the United States started, is just very fascinating. I think that it's full of stories, full of drama, and a lot of intense moments. We're talking about when we colonized, right? When we first explored, when all this was just considered a new world. There were some buildings, there were people, but not people like us. So we're going to learn about who these people were. But who were the countries? So this is a very interesting subject, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. So you're going to watch the video on reasons for exploration. Then we're going to go over this PowerPoint. Again, I love this. This is my favorite. All right, so we're going to talk about England, France, Spain, right? All of these countries in Europe, they were all ready to colonize or set up new adventures. They were ready to go see what else was out there. Of course, you've heard Christopher Columbus was looking for an easier trade route, which is true. But there were also other explorers who were also exploring for the kings and the queens, so let's say the monarchs, trying to find out what else was out there. Now, obviously, there were three main reasons that they wanted to go and explore. We call it the three G's: God, gold, and glory. God would be for religious reasons. The gold would be economic reasons, right? Have all the riches. And the glory is for being the most proudful country for exploring a new land. And we'll learn about all those explored territories throughout sixth grade social studies. So by the 15th century, Europeans were aware of places as distant as Africa, India, and China. However, they had no idea of the existence of the Americas, right? So this is when they're starting to figure out, okay, there's other areas, but how far is it and how do we get there? So they start figuring out ways to explore, right? They get all these people that are willing to do the exploration. Obviously, there was curiosity. People were starting to ask questions after the Renaissance period. People were becoming more wiser in things. It's not that they weren't smart, but they weren't afraid to ask questions now. Suddenly, the Renaissance period really changed a lot for so many people. And so they became more educated. Going back to the three G's, the economic reasons were gold, right? They wanted that gold and they knew that there was gold in other places, but where was it? So they were willing to go and get that gold, obviously to increase profit. The fame and the glory for being the most glorious country for exploring a new land. This is huge because remember, these monarchs are competing with each other, right? They're constantly in competition. They're constantly in wars trying to get each other's territories in Europe. But now they're going to go explore the new world, the new lands, and who's going to get there first? The religious reasons. We're going to find out how Christianity was really huge in a lot of these countries, especially in Spain. So we're going to learn about how they tried to convert many, what they would call the savages, right? They call them the savages, the Aztecs. How they try to convert them over to Christianity, and we'll learn about how horrible it was for them. So obviously, what was out there was foreign goods that they found in China, right? Silk, spices, jewels, and gold. But there was still other areas. Remember, at one time during the Silk Road, they're traveling from Europe. If you look at the screen here, they're going from Europe all the way to Peking, right? Now, when they're going back and forth, look what they're on. They're on camels. That's got to take forever to get across, right? But not only that, over in Asia, there are a lot of mountainous regions. So as they're coming back, many people are hiding in those mountains, and a lot of times they got attacked. They got robbed. So they had to figure out what was the best route to get across. Now, obviously, we've heard that Christopher Columbus thought he was in India, when in reality he was in like towards the Bahamas, right? And so they started calling that the West Indies. So we'll talk a little bit more about that today. So obviously they wanted better trade routes. And again, the three G's that motivated them was gold, the search for wealth, glory, the search for fame, and God, the aim to convert the heathens to Christianity. Of course, Spain, France, and England, they were ready to be the first. As you can see, they were trying to be the first to control, to get this land. We're going to learn a little bit, not much, but in eighth grade, you'll learn a lot more about it. But we're going to learn about how Spain did colonize certain areas here. France colonized up here in the Canadian areas, and England colonized here in the 13 colonies. Okay. And I'll skip a little bit. All right. So, of course, with Christopher Columbus, there was also this thing called the Colombian Exchange. So, the Colombian Exchange looks like this. Okay. So, things that they had in North America, they sent it over to Europe, and vice versa. Things that they had in Europe, they sent it over to North America or the New World, because it really wasn't North America yet, the New World. But we're going to find out about some other things that came across the ocean. Remember, I told you yesterday the most important ocean that you need to know for sixth, seventh, and eighth is the treacherous Atlantic Ocean. That is the most important ocean that you need to know. Because we did everything, right? Trade, the Colombian Exchange, the triangular trade, everything was through the Atlantic Ocean. So we'll learn more about that. But as they were bringing things over, so were these little rats with fleas, right? They brought now think about this. A lot of these rats were really from Europe. So the people that live in those areas, they're immune to them. But then you have the indigenous in the New World. The indigenous would be the Indians, the natives, right? Not Indians, the natives. And they're not accustomed to this. Their immune system is a lot different. They eat different foods. They haven't been exposed to much other than each other. All of a sudden, here come the Europeans with the little rats in the ship, right? A little stowaways, and they, with the fleas that were on those rats, they ended up biting the people. They brought diseases, and of course, they ended up causing the spread of smallpox and measles. And many people got sick. If you look at the pictures, you zoom into your computer, you'll notice the dots and the markings that it left on their bodies. And many people got sick. They say 2 to 18 million Native Americans died from European diseases since they had no immunity. I would say it's not 2. I would say about 18 million. About 18 million. But we're also going to learn about the great things that they did bring. Okay, so we'll talk about that today. The story's a lot longer. I hope that you'll join me. I really think you'll like this lesson. The next 2 weeks is very interesting because we are mixing a lot of American history stuff with our social studies. So, again, it's my fave. I love George Washington. You'll learn why. I'll tell you why. Because George Washington is the coolest. He was the youngest soldier. And yes, he wasn't the best soldier in the beginning. He lost a lot of wars, but then he became this amazing general. And then he became our president. And we'll find out why they gave him the presidency. All right, my angels, we will see you soon. Have a great day.